All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. It is Friday. It's hard to know what day of the week it is anymore. They all kind of just gel together at this point. Isaac Peckiash, John Leidick. It's week 10 of the high school football season, but really it's week 1 of the playoffs, John.
Yeah.
And a couple of exciting matchups here on this Friday, while the elements, though, will play a part.
Yeah, they're going to play a big factor tonight for the three games behind us here to kick off the postseason play in the 1A classification. One rematch and two meetings for the first time. All these games, Southern games here tonight, but should be a good one.
Yeah, we got one at Titusville, one at Oil City, and I think one at Wilmington as well.
Wilmington, Oil City, Titusville.
Yeah, so let's start with the one at Titusville. It's a rematch of Week 1, Eisenhower and Sagertown. The Knights starting off the season on a fast track. Their loss to Cochranton kind of set them back a bit. They lost their top offensive lineman in the game against Cambridge Springs, but they've still come on strong. They won their last game to end the year. Sagertown, a team that's kind of been back and forth. Their wins have been very pleasant, but their losses have been quite the opposite.
Yeah, you think about this game, it was week 1 of the year, 14-0 shutout for Eisenhower. I think two teams that have maybe evolved a little bit since then. I would say the Eisenhower offense has a little more staying power than Sagertown. We'll see, though. I mean, you get to the playoffs.
I know.
And then I think it's going to be, you always say it's a battle of the trenches, but ever so more with the conditions that you're going to have tonight, you have to be able to establish the run.
Not to mention Sagertown's quarterback Sully Zirkle with 2 rushing touchdowns last week in Sagertown's game against Cambridge Springs, so we'll have to see if that plays a role tonight. Also tonight, our game of the week, it'll be in Oil City. I'll be down there for that one. Mercer taking on Maplewood. The Tigers this season went on runs. They lost two of their first 3 games, one of them being the Northwestern. Then they won 3 games in a row. We had them against Cochranton for a game of the week, one they'd like to forget. But this team, when healthy, is dynamic. Remember, Ben Gilberto, their star running back, was unavailable to play against Cochranton. He's part of the reason why Coach Brian Borkovich likes his chances tonight.
Yeah, and you think about they had the midst of there's COVID situation with them, then with some of their opponents. So just getting that rhythm, you would hope over the last few weeks is going to be a big factor. But yeah, helps this time of year. For Mercer too, I mean, it's a season that was up and down for them because they play such a challenging schedule down there. When you add in the likes of Farrells and Wilmingtons and others, that it's never an easy tilt for them.
And Mercer coming in, defense averaging just under 24 points a game given up, so we expect a ground and pound game down in Oil City. The game at Wilmington, Cambridge Springs taking on Reynolds, another Region 1 versus Region 2 team. What do you make of this one, John?
Well, Reynolds, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, is the defending 1A champion for Cambridge Springs. It was a season that didn't go maybe how many had planned it from the start. Some challenges right from the start with their game against Fairview, and from there never really found their footing. So I'm interested to see if they can maybe find a spark here. You get to postseason play, you amp up the energy and that. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out tonight, but it'll be a tough test going on the road all the way down to Mercer County to try and take on a Reynolds team that doesn't want to see that title given up too quickly.
Yeah, and this is, like we said, the 1A quarterfinals. Win and you go home. This is the bracket in which Cochranton is sitting up there with the number 1 seed. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some more games tonight as we look at Week 10. A pretty big game, really a de facto eliminator game tonight, John. Butler visits Erie. The winner essentially will get to play McDowell in the 6A title game.
Yeah, so this was the game that I believe was Week 3 or 4 that was supposed to be played. Again, it was postponed because of COVID issues. But yeah, really, that's what it is. I mean, it's going to come down to region standings, and the winner tonight is going to go move on to, so it's not being termed. It's still a regular season game. Want to make sure that we clarify on that part. It is a regular season game, but however, if you can put the air quotes around it, it's that game that's going to decide who moves on. So should be a good one tonight at Veterans Stadium. Again, that is Veterans Stadium tonight, 7 o'clock. For this game. Just want to make that clarified because Erie High obviously has been playing all Saturday afternoon games since about midseason.
And they're playing tonight because LMBA band championships are tomorrow night starting at 4 o'clock, so they keep the game on Friday. All right, other games going on in the region. Seneca visiting Fairview. The Tigers trying to win their 3rd straight game. Harbor Creek, who's been fairly consistent as of late the last few weeks, will take on Girard. And Iroquois visits Northeast. So a couple of local games. Teams trying to end their season on a good note. I'm trying to check playoffs. Fairview, of course, will
These
be in.
two are in the
So will
playoffs.
Harbor Creek. The other teams just trying to end their season on a good note. John, for Fairview and Harbor Creek, you know, you could say they're meaningless games. You've already got your seeds, but you still want to have that successful last regular season game before the playoffs.
Yeah, my question is going to be how much playing time do some of these starters see?
Especially for Fairview.
Yeah, I mean,
Banged up
you
already.
do not want to roll the dice and lose somebody that is going to play a big factor in a potential playoff run here tonight, and then be kicking yourself a week from now. So maybe you get the starters in for the first quarter,
Sure.
and then get them out there just to get some playing time and keep that going. But yeah, that'll be interesting. These again, everything beyond what we just told you on the 1A, these are all regular season games.
Right. And Fairview and Harbor Creek are both banged up. The Huskies without Cam Williamson. He's been inactive since the early part of the regular season. Other games that we have for tonight, Conneaut visiting Greenville down in Mercer County. McDowell travels to St. Francis. This is a St. Francis team that took on Cathedral Prep earlier this season. The Ramblers won that game. McDowell will look to end the regular season with just one loss. And again, they'll await the winner of the Erie versus Butler game. You have Farrell visiting Fort LaBeouf. You know, if there weren't playoff games tonight, John, this would probably be our game of the week. Fort LaBeouf and Farrell had games on the schedule. The two teams that they were playing backed out, so they scheduled each other. Again, the question is, how long do your starters play? But man, there could be some fireworks at Carmen Benito Field tonight.
I'm going to make a bold prediction tonight. Okay,
You're
you ready
taking
for this
LaBeouf?
one? No.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of running in this game.
Oh man, I would take that to the bank, folks. If you're in Vegas,
Breaking news.
Take it.
Yeah, no, that should be a fun one. A kind of
Yeah.
a power run team versus that finesse and speed, athleticism run team in Farrell. We'll see how these two get ready to get set for their playoff appearances that start next week.
And again, McDowell will be on the road. Corey takes on Warren as well. We got one more slate of games. I think these are the final four. You've got Titusville at Kennedy Catholic. Cathedral Prep will visit Canisius. This is a Saturday game. The last three games, I believe, are Saturday. All four of them actually are Saturday. So you got Titusville, Kennedy Catholic, Cathedral Prep, Canisius. Lakeview visiting Franklin, and Sharpsville and Mercyhurst Prep. Again, still a hodgepodge of teams on that docket that will be in the postseason.
Yep, 1 o'clock games, 7 and 5 for these. So yeah, in Cathedral Prep, I believe is the only one. Sharpsville, obviously, with the co-op with West Middlesex, is
Right.
ineligible. Mercyhurst Prep, I don't believe qualified. Neither did Titusville. Yeah, I believe Cathedral Prep, the only playoff team that will be in action on Saturday as they finish out their regular season and have no district championship as
Right.
the only 5A team.
Hard to believe we're already
They will
in
play
week
next week, though.
and they will play.
And they will play Brashear out of the City League in Pittsburgh.
That was a game that McDowell again played earlier in the season. I believe it was week 2, something like that.
Yeah.
Trojans Brashear played.
Is it Brashear? Yeah.
I think it was Brashear. It's hard to remember. It was already 2 months ago, week number 2.
No, excuse me. Brashear will play the winner out of 6A.
Okay.
But yes, it'll be a game next week at Dollinger Field. The team, for some reason, is avoiding me as I just typed
Regardless,
this out.
if you're a Prep fan, you have a game to look forward to next week. That's
Yeah.
the big thing. All right, so those are the games Saturday. John, when you look at these playoff games, if I go back a couple of slides here, we'll do our game of the week. I mean, these are two teams, Mercer and Maplewood, who like to run the ball. They're akin to the ground game to begin with. What do you see in that game tonight?
I think it's going to be an even match game. I think it may come down to turnovers. I mean, you get to this point of the year, it's who has less turnovers and mistakes. And that front, I think I'm going to take. I don't know. I think this is a pick'em game. I'm going to say, just because of the weather elements, 24-21 Maplewood. If I'm picking the other two, I'm going to take Reynolds, and then I'll take Eisenhower to finish out my trio of picks here tonight.
Yeah, there are not going to be a lot of points in this game. Quite honestly, I could see all three of these games combined with less than 100 points in total. I mean, I don't think it's going to be very high scoring at all. Again, the elements playing a factor as we move on. Any final thoughts for Week 10, playoff Week 1? We're already in the postseason.
Just excited. I mean,
Yeah.
it's we're here. I think if you're a fan of just sports in general, you love the postseason play, the excitement that surrounds it, and I know these fan bases will certainly show up here tonight for a lot of good games, and then we've got some more 5 next Friday,
Yeah.
and then 4 games next Saturday, all playoff games. So a lot of excitement going on here as we kick off the postseason.
Yeah, start getting to those double weekends where you got playoffs on Friday and Saturday. All right, Week 10, playoff week 1, call it what you want to call it. Regardless, we'll be here. Football Friday at 11 o'clock. Mercyhurst women's hockey also in action. The Otters are in action. So a lot going on to close out the final Friday.